told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes.
Hello, we are live. Hello this evening. So glad that you're tuning in. My name is Sandra Jennings, and this is Passion Speak, where we give those with a passion a platform to speak. If this is your first time tuning in, we want to say we appreciate you. Please subscribe. And if you've come back, we repeatedly, we really appreciate you as well. And we hope that you continue to stick around. My guest this evening, Passion Speak, is a person who is very special to me. So I'm going to let him talk more about himself in just a moment. But first, I want to say just a little bit that he probably won't say. He is one of the best in the business. He's an NCAA Division I women's basketball official, and he's a WNBA official, and he's got the house dog commenting apparently, and also happens to be my little brother. So let me introduce you all to Billy Smith, and we're going to talk more about this officiating and how it came to be his passion. How are you, bro?
Doing good, big sis.
Okay, we don't have to do that no more.
For a long time, you realize that, right?
Yeah. I'm so glad. You know what? I'm so glad that I thought of you, because I don't know what made me think about it. I was like, my little brother been doing what he's been doing for over 20. Has it been over 20 years?
22.
Okay. Block the dog up.
You're working on it now.
You working on it?
He part of the deal, unfortunately.
Because he wants to be a part of the show, clearly. Anyway, so let's get into. We're getting comments already. Those got to be your people. Oh, Diane. Oh, glad you joined Passion Speak. Hi, Diane. She said, hi, Billy. You remember Diane? She used to be around the family. That's all I'll say about that, because otherwise I'd be dating her and me. Glad you joined Passion Speak. Thank you, Diane. Diane watches whenever she can, and we really appreciate it.
That's
she
great.
And a bunch of others.
That's great.
So tell us, Billy, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did you, Gabriel? Oh, this is your nephew, Gabriel. He says, "Hey, hey, mom, hey, babe."
We on TV, Gabe, right? Come on, man.
Yeah, we on TV. Billy, tell us a little bit about yourself, other than the fact that you officiated for women's basketball in Division I, all the conferences, ACC, SEC, the Big East, the Big 10, the Big 12, and many others. I think you're officiating with all of them now, right?
Yes.
Am I correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And also, you've been with the WNBA probably, how long has it been? 7, 8 years?
It's my 14th year.
14? Wow. Okay. And you've done championships. You've done at least 6 WNBA championships. And so anyway, go tell us a little bit about yourself. Not a whole lot, because I'm going to get into all of that.
Gotcha. First of all, congratulations on Passion Talk or Passion Speak, because I know it's your passion to speak, and me and my wife Lenore, shout out to Grand Rapids. We're very happy for you. Me, I started with an athletic background, and it was funny because I played football in high school and college, but basketball was always that underlying passion that I had. I just wanted to play basketball. I never developed the skill set to play at a high level because I was so focused on football and track. That being said, when I moved to Southern California years ago, right towards the end of my time there, a friend of mine approached me about refereeing some men's basketball so we could make $20 a game. That was a big deal back then. and that's kind of how I got started in it. It kind of, I guess, it was probably something that was always in me. But then I never knew there was an avenue for a career then, like I know now. But when I came to Atlanta, the floodgates just opened. So, but my background in athletics is probably what did it. I always trained and worked out. And I remember when I said to myself one day, I need something to train for. I was in law enforcement at the time. Of course, I trained for that, to stay physically fit. But I needed something to train for. I didn't want to do marathons. I was not that guy, and I didn't want to do triathlons. And like basketball became that thing that drove me to continue to train even at my age now. So
Let me just interject um, for those who are listening. Billy got diagnosed with ADHD, as a lot of young boys, as a young child. I mean, he was like doing physical stuff that 2-year-olds weren't supposed to be doing. Well, by the time he got to grade school, mom was just outdone. Like, what can I do with all this boy's energy? So the doctors put you on a little medicine,
yeah.
and mom didn't like how it made you look
Mhm.
lethargic and listless.
Yeah.
And then I think it was our uncle
Yeah.
who took you up to Frank King Park, which is now King Park. At that time, it was Franklin Park,
Yeah.
and introduced you to Rocket football.
Yes, he
You
did.
must have been in like the third or fourth grade at that time.
7. I was 7, and
You
he
were
used to come out. He would come out. He worked at the Penn Club at night, and he would come out before he would go to work, and he would sit out there on the car and watch me and the neighbors play football on the street. And he was like, "This kid can play football." And so he took me up one day and he introduced me to Mr. Spillmaker, who he was a white guy. He and Uncle Ned worked together at the Penn Club, and that man took me under his wing like I was one of his kids. He had 7 of his own kids. He would feed me at his house like I was one of his. He would pick me up and take me. And I mean, you know the story, but I he's the one who got me into St. Thomas, helped me get into St. Thomas and Catholic Central. And I owe a lot to him for my athletic career because I became a high school All-American of football under his tutelage. He really helped me become that athlete and let me know that that was a way through, and that did help me with the hyperactivity, big time. My
It did, and I recall dating is back as early as I don't know, middle school, even maybe before sixth grade. You were a three-sport athlete, and I think that really helped with the ADHD.
Yeah,
So,
tremendously.
parents, if you got them boys who got a lot of energy, put them in sports.
I got a grandson like that. Trust me. My daughter was that way too, and sports really helped her too. So
Yeah, we're gonna talk about her as well.
yeah.
But anyway, I got some screen shares because I always love to find me some good juicy screen shares.
Oh god.
One thing, we're gonna get right into a little bit of WNBA, and then we're gonna backtrack a little bit. So not the WNBA, excuse me, Division One women's basketball. So it seemed like every year your wife, my sister-in-law, texts me, Billy got another call or some sort, and I said, okay, what's the call this year? Diane said all 3 of her children play sports. It's a great thing.
Yes,
It'll
is.
keep them.
Yeah,
It'll keep them in check many times.
that's right.
But anyway, so she texted me and she said, "Uh-oh, he had to call." It was in this year's finals. It was it?
Oh, it was the SEC.
Oh, it was the SEC conference.
Quarterfinals. SEC
Oh,
quarterfinals in
quarterfinals.
Nashville. Yes.
Okay, so anyway, this clip that I'm going to show, don't be ashamed. This clip that I'm going to show is the renowned Kim Mulkey, Coach Kim Mulkey. She is amazing. She has amazing, all kinds of accolades and championships. She's now at LSU. LSU was losing this game, and there was a call that wasn't a call, and she was not happy about it. And I'm going to show it because it is kind of interesting. I'm gonna let it run. So there was.
They say no foul called, and Kim Mulkey is the technical.
So
let it play. Always show the play.
let it play. Okay.
Kim Mulkey was so upset she couldn't believe the foul wasn't called. She came straight to the official, Billy Smith, and addressed him with her dissatisfaction with no foul called.
So that was interesting because yeah, all coaches. First, let me just give a shout out to Coach Melky because she's very passionate about what she does. I mean, we should all have that much passion. But with that said, you cannot take a swing at the officials. Like they have police presence to protect the officials. There's sometimes 15, 20,000 angry fans, and the officials need help because the crowd wants to blame the officials for losses as well as wins. Well, no, the coaches get the wins, but officials get the losses. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. And did you? This was really funny too. That I thought I didn't even show it. I call this the baby boomer note for Handle My Lightweight. Right? I got to show this one more time because it's to me, it's just too funny. This is after you made the call. After you made the call, because apparently there's some not behavior. What's the word I'm looking for? There's some policy and procedure where Handle My Lightweight right there. Now this lady here is the crew chief in this game. And so what is the words I'm looking for? The official who makes the call is not the one who enforces it. What is it? Explain it to me.
Okay, so first of all, the look on the face was, I've seen her do this before. So actually, when I went by her, I did in essence say what you just said. I said, she's getting a technical foul. Please handle her. And what I was saying to her was, make sure the table knows what I have and throw her out of here if you need to.
Oh, okay.
Now, what we tend to try to do is if I assess a technical foul, I try to get away because time and distance a lot of times will solve a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. In this essence, I don't even want to look at her. I don't want to make eye contact. I didn't look at her the rest of the game because I don't want to antagonize her, obviously. Mm-hmm. And if she's really mad, I don't want to continue to escalate this thing. So we'd like to have another official replace us and let them do the ejection if needed. And our conversation after the game was she didn't feel she needed it because she came down. That's why you saw me turn and never look back. I literally never looked at her the rest of the game. And what was so ironic is when the game ended, I happened to end up on her end of the floor. Mm-hmm. When I came to her end of the floor, instead of me going to the table side where she was at, I stayed on the opposite side of the table of the floor so she couldn't come down the sideline to get to me after the game. And when it was over, I walked behind the basket stanchion and went off the floor to not incite her in any way, shape, or form. So in essence, it was, and that lady I was with, very, very, very experienced, very good official, national championship official. Hey, shout out to Felicia. Good people. And I felt she handled it the way she felt was necessary. In hindsight, would I have liked to have ejected her? It probably would have been appropriate, but I think the way we handled it was probably best at that moment. So
I have to say I always like how you handle those things, including fights on the court. We don't have enough time to go into those, but I
feel those too.
It's kind of funny. Oh, we have another guest.
By the way, if you want to be in a fight, they tell me I'm the guy you want to be with. So
oh, okay. Is that David Gardner, your friend?
My boy.
Oh, Coach Billy.
T. Gardner, away from Southern California.
Oh, I'm glad he chimed in. Thank you for watching. He's chiming in from YouTube.
My buddy.
Um, so anyway, it just I just also want to say that you guys have security present for you because that's part of the game. Like you could very well get some very, very angry fans, especially
Yeah.
stakes on the game. And fair I would go so far as to say that Division 1 potentially has higher stakes than the WNBA because people are very passionate about their sports. They're just passionate about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so okay, so you've been doing now when you started out, how did you start out? You doing actually was it your friend David, you and he was
No,
started out?
it was actually a buddy of mine named Kurt Turner who lives in New York now. He was in Southern California at the time, and I was just kind of like deciding I didn't want to play recreation basketball. And he said to me one day, "Hey, why don't you come and referee with me in some rec ball?" And I was like, he said it pays, and I said, I'm with you. And $20 was a lot of money at that time. So I started doing that and just kind of, I don't know, kind of goofing around with it. I was going out doing little kids basketball, and when I trained actually for high school basketball in Southern California, but then Lenore and I and the family we moved from Orange County, California to Atlanta. And when I
Speaking of
got here,
Lenore, she's
yeah,
dropping in from YouTube. Awesome composure. Oh, she was looking at the clip. Your prayer warrior was also praying for you as
she was in
always.
the stands, of course, as always. So
I know, I'm
no,
sure. Oh, she
she
got
wasn't staying in a hotel room. She was there. So
and you know what? She got to have some thick skin as well because you got to sit up there with the people when they're talking
no,
about their
she heard it. She heard them. And
oh,
before I finished the other part, we were in the stands one day. I was somewhere when I was kind of still coming up, and my daughter Shantavia Shawnee was in the stands, and she was about 8 or 9, and somebody was just really giving it to me, I guess, up there. And Shawnee walked over to him and said something to him. So after the game, I had to explain to her, "Sweetie, you don't have to protect Dad. It's just part of Dad got thick skin." But I was kind of, but Lenore doesn't say much anymore, but she will, you know.
she'll
So
speak up.
we
It's
just started.
difficult. I've
Yeah.
been I've been there. It's difficult.
Yeah, I don't hear a lot on the court anymore, by choice.
Hmm.
But you hear things said about you that you would never say to a person's face on the street. So,
Yeah.
and it's all over sport. But I get it if you're passionate. It's one thing to be a fan. It's another thing to be fanatical. And
Hmm.
and the level that I work at, by the grace of God, I get to work there. I see fanatics. Like I deal with fanatics. And the point you kind of glazed over it was there is actual betting now. They
Hmm.
are actually betting on the game. Some of them can even bet on the sideline. They can
Really?
sit on, they can put. So I'm in New York about 5 years ago, and there's a guy behind me. He is just wearing me out. He's calling me by name.
Hmm.
How does this guy know my name? Because they'll announce our names before the game, but they don't ever give jersey numbers. We wear jersey numbers. I'm jersey number 7. I was jersey number 35 back then. And he's
Hmm.
wearing me out. We'll come to find out he Googled me.
Oh.
Back then I didn't, this at least 5 or 6, maybe 6 years ago.
Hmm.
I didn't realize I was Googleable. I know that's not a word, but I didn't realize I could be Googled.
Hmm.
And man, so after the game, I tell my daughter, and she goes, "Oh yeah, Dad, I Google you all the time. You're all over." I'm like, was a little bit uncomfortable for me because I'm pretty private. Like I don't share. I don't have social
Hmm.
media. I don't do any of that mainly because of what I do. And so it was always a protective thing for me. And my wife doesn't do it either. And I remember one time you took some pictures at South Carolina game you came to, and I saw him somewhere, and I was like, "Sis, like, be careful putting my picture out there." Not that it was necessarily wrong, but it was just
Hmm.
like from my protective nature, having been in law enforcement and just knowing what I deal with. I just try to keep the face and name recognition low. But
Yeah.
they're on the sideline and they're doing that now. But back to the story of my buddy Kurt. Then we moved to Atlanta. When I came to Atlanta, there was a friend of mine here named Sean Good, who had lived in SoCal, and he had actually worked with us in our beauty salons. And Sean was refereeing, and he was refereeing at a pretty high level at that point. He was already in college refereeing, and he's the one who directed me to a guy. And the guy told me to come up one day, and I'd been sick, and I had been refereeing about maybe 3 or 4 months, but I hadn't refereed in a year. And I went out and I refereed. And after the game, there was a guy standing there, and he said, I said, well, how did I do? And he said, man, you look like it. Okay.
Said a bad word about you, huh?
He said, yeah. He said that no. He said the right word.
Oh, poo. You look like poo.
I say that because as I walked away, I said to myself, he's going to eat those words. And
Okay.
I wasn't personal to him because I know the guy to this day, and he's a good guy. I just that was the fire that was fueling that. So when I told you earlier about how I needed something to train for, he gave it to me. And to this day, I can thank, I ain't gonna say his name, thank him for the opportunity to go like this, along with my wife, who's been there from day one and has encouraged me and was really the reason I can go referee. Without great support like that, caring for the kids when I couldn't be here, making sure everybody was together.
But
really
he was being truthful. You did you
I was terrible, girl. He wasn't lying. I don't know about the it part, but he wasn't lying. I was awful. And
okay, so we got some more comments.
Okay.
Diane is in there. She's asking, when are the ladies' games on TV? Not always, or why? Or she wants why they always have to be on cable and she can't get them. Diane, that is a long story. It's political.
Well,
it's all about money.
Yeah,
but
let me say this. There's been a lot of changes recently. We like each year now, we've gained more and more tread. Let me just speak about the WNBA in particular. College, I probably last year worked 17 or 18 major games on either ESPN, ESPN2 or ABC. The WNBA is now coming around to that. We're also on Twitter. We're also on Facebook Live. I mean, there's a lot of places we are now because our league, the NBA and the WNBA, have these companies have come in and now they want to back the league. So it's getting better, Diane, to your point, and that has kind of been something we've been fighting for some years. But it's coming. And then there's usually, if you go out on WNBA.com, there's a schedule of televised games. I think I start May 6th. I think there's probably in that first weekend, there's probably 6 of our games that are televised on national TV, either ABC, CBS Sports, things like that. So, or ESPN.
Okay. And then we got another comment, Jack Striblin.
Hey, that's my buddy.
What's up, Billy? I see you. Southern Cal in the house. Hey, thanks for watching, Jack. We appreciate you.
Jack would come out and visit when I come to SoCal. Jack would come out and he would come up to the games and visit with us, and we came up together, man. That's a good man there. I love Jack dearly. Been a good, not just as a cousin, but just as a man and as a brother. He's always been a good guy to me. So I appreciate him.
Diane says good. She liked your answer. Thank you, Diane. Thanks for continuing to watch. So you mentioned Shawnee earlier. Shawnee is she's your mentee. You are mentoring her. That's also your daughter.
It is.
And Shawnee, I'm gonna do a screen share because I have a little story. Let's see where.
Well, she told me to tell you, Auntie, she couldn't get on because she's training. She's in the gym training right now. So
she can catch the rerun. We're gonna talk about her anyway. Okay. This is an article that came out in 2014 because this is part of the gym that you guys belong to, right?
I was running. I started the basketball officiating program for this company, and then they took it off after that. But the guy here, Jonathan Sterling, he actually is an NBA referee now. At that point, he was trying to get in. His wife is also an NBA referee. I helped train her when she started in Atlanta, and now she's an NBA referee. And kudos to her, Lauren. Lauren just second year she's been in the playoffs. Second white female, and third female overall to be in the NBA. So kudos to her. Really good lady. Really.
In the NBA, not the WNBA.
No. She worked in the W for 1 year, got hired in the NBA. Her and I came into the program together.
Okay. So this gym is in outside of Atlanta, Johns Creek, Sugarloaf area, right?
You got it.
It's talking about Shawnee and and how you mentor her and train her and so on.
So the interesting part about this, sis, is that if you scroll down that picture, these are grown men. I'm talking about some ex Division I college players, a couple ex NBA players, and Shawnee, all of 5'2". So when this picture was taken in between me going to WNBA games and getting ready for that. When I would leave, Shawnee would actually run it for me. That's how well respected she was with the men who played in the league, because she was able to handle it. And it was just amazing to me. I go away and I come back and be like, man, no problem, man. Your daughter took care of it. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I started Shawnee when the first time she put a whistle on, she was 14, but she was still playing high school basketball. And then she injured her foot and couldn't play college basketball. And she kept asking me for $20 to drive the car. And I said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to teach you how to make $20, because I'm not going to keep giving you $20. And I took her out to referee, true story. And the first place I took her was a men's pro league with a buddy of mine who's an NBA referee right now. And he was my mentor. And so I take her out, and after the first time we put Shawnee in the game, we look around, and I'm like, where's Shawnee go? Can't find her. She would show back up the last game. And we have like 3 games a night, right? She could start the first game. So one time I said, Shawnee, you always disappearing. Where'd you go? She said, Dad, I used to go in the bathroom and hide. So you would not put me in the games. It's like, you should have just told me. But now that passion has built, and she's done really well. Let's say that.
You have a friend, Jackie Chandler, says she's loving it.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you, Jackie. So we have another comment here, and I'll get to it in just a moment, but how has Shawnee progressed in her, I'm not going to show her Facebook. How has Shawnee progressed in her journey for, refereeing?
She's done really well. Refereeing, especially at a higher level. Some people look at refereeing as you just go out and buy a shirt, get a whistle, and go out and start doing it. Mm-hmm. There's actually a lot more to it than that. If you're going to referee, like in a system, I train what I call systematically, which means we have systems in place, and we try to teach you step by step so that you're prepared. But then we also teach you the nuances of refereeing. And a lot of times young referees miss all those nuances because they have no one like myself or the people that mentor me. Hey, shout out to those guys, because they put a lot into me to give you those ins and outs. You and I talked earlier about some of this, how like I'm able to teach them how to travel. I'm able to teach them how to develop better relationships based on their personality with coaches. And, we deal with a lot of stuff like that. Shawnee, one, has a great personality, but one thing she's not a boastful person. She's not going to pop her shirt and do stuff like that and like, look at me. That being said, sometimes that tends to look like, oh God, either she's standoffish or she's just too quiet to referee. Neither of that is the truth. Shawnee just doesn't like to be seen. Mm-hmm. But her development, so it slowed her development a bit, because she's not a tall lady, but she's super fit and she can run, and she's very accurate with what she does. So we've had to teach Shawnee how to progress in those other areas. When I say personality, not a bad personality, just a personality that fits the game. So you and I being at our age and dealing with someone at her age, mm-hmm. there's a big age gap. Mm-hmm. And then you start dealing with gender gaps too, with male coaches and older female coaches. And now they look at her and they go, she's 5'2", she's got to be young. Well, she's 30. So mm-hmm. we've had to help her develop that side too, where she communicates extremely well. She knows what to say. But that's come over time. She had a little bit of a speech impediment that she stuttered. She's really been able to come around, and she slows down now. And I think I told you the story earlier, but she was working in a law firm. She was a paralegal working for her brother. And I told her one day, I said, if you want to really develop your skill set for communicating and refereeing, you got to go work in retail sales. Well, she didn't want to hear that. And she asked me why. And I said, because you sit on the desk all day and talk to somebody on the phone who can't see you, or text your friends in code. You don't speak true language.
Mhm.
Your is you are. You know, by the way is be whatever whatever these acronyms you guys use. I said you've got to go and deal with adults like myself, older people. Even it's going to help you with conflict resolution. So that was something that she did, and now she's been in it for a while, and she's really flourished. She became, in management, and it helped her learn how to develop her skill set to communicate. Because that's probably the biggest one of the biggest assets for us, besides being good play callers in basketball officiating, is being able to communicate and not coming off as arrogant or pompous or standoffish or too talkative. Like, there's a fine line. So I think she's developed that well, Sandy. And then her skill set on the court is, right now, it's continuing to grow, but right now for her age, and I told you this earlier, probably her development where she's at and where I was at that stage, she's ahead of me. She's ahead of the curve with that, in my opinion. And I've had some of my colleagues tell me that as well.
I've seen her demonstrate a lot of confidence on the court.
Absolutely.
And you got to be confident, because when you flipping technicals to some reputable coaches,
Yeah.
and they swing at you,
Right.
you gotta, you can't cower. you gotta be confident what you know. You gotta come to quickness.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have a question
Uh-oh.
from Clifton Marshall. He says, who do you think are some of the best players in the WNBA?
Man, off the top, Diana Taurasi for sure. I've refereed her for the last dozen years, and I probably haven't seen a more phenomenal player. Candace Parker, man, right there with her. Sue Bird. Let me say this: not only good players, but good people. Passionate, like you showed the Kim Mulkey. I can show you some clips between me and Diana Taurasi that you'll go, she hates you, she doesn't. Like, my nickname is Big Fella. That's all she calls me. She knows my name. She just calls me Big Fella. But we have some young up and coming players. Brittany Griner, man, listen.
Brittany Griner said, quick prayer for Brittany, who is still being held in Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So, and these are people, a lot of them I refereed in college. Sylvia Fowles, man, unreal, just phenomenal. And what I'm seeing now is, as they're starting to leave the court, they're becoming coaches, some of them in college. So it's dating me now, but it's also the opportunity to see such phenomenal players. You mentioned earlier, but I've been blessed enough to work in some finals and really some very difficult games, and see some of the best players in the world, men or women, play basketball. And I get a front row seat. Like, I get goosebumps when I think about it. And but they are probably, I just mentioned 5. I could probably go on and on. Clifton, I know Clifton. Hello to Clifton, by the way. Good people, good friends of ours. But I could go on.
Diane corrected me. It's the Russian conflict.
Yes,
thank
right.
you, Diane. Yep, I misspoke. It's not it's the Russian Ukrainian conflict. But yes, thank you. Yeah. William Crittenden is saying he's enjoying the discussion. Thank you, William, for chiming in on us.
Hey, that's Cuz down in South Bend. Shout out to South Bend.
Yep, Notre Dame.
Yes,
Penny, she's saying, Sandy, this is so awesome to have your brother Billy on to share his career accomplishments. Hi, Billy. So proud of you. Maybe you remember my girlfriend Penny, girlfriend from fourth grade.
Very good.
That's a long time. She be in there. Penny chimes in quite often. And then my cousin Jewel said, blessed to be a blessing. Thank you, Jewel, for watching. She supports as well.
Cool.
So who now you do mentor other youth as well as, and you got a team of people you mentoring.
Yeah, right now I have well, let me say this. I always am open to add, but right now I have about 4 people, including Shawnee, that I've kind of focused my time on over about the last 5 years. It's funny. I have a young man on right now. His name is Kevin Chu. He's a Chinese guy, but he's a great kid, right? And I've worked in the Black community, helping the young Black referees come, but I never turn anyone down, because for me, it's just about giving back, sharing passion. Like, that's something I really have learned well from my wife, watching her do her work. So I have these young people that I've worked with. Kevin has just recently joined me. There's a couple other people. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help them get ready for any level they want to work. So I always say this. I don't. Part of my part of my work as a trainer and refereeing is that I'm mentoring young men and trying to pass on not only the craft but some of the things in life, good or bad, that I've learned. So that you don't have to stumble. The same things I think we try to teach our kids. Let me knock my head, and you don't have to double knock your head. There's no reason to knock your head twice.
But they sometimes want to, just for the
Well,
experience.
sometimes they have to.
Yeah.
I think
Lenore is saying, I love the way Billy gives back and mentors so many other young officials nationwide.
so. That's interesting. My wife says that because of Zoom now,
Hmm.
we are able to talk to people nationwide, and I get people from all over calling me, texting me. I have a good buddy, Eric Lewis, up in the Maryland area. He has poured a lot into me over the last 6 years, and we get on and we share Zoom calls and we talk. He's an NBA referee,
Hmm.
and it's really good to sit back and listen to somebody else encourage your passion. That's my buddy Kevin.
Hmm. Appreciate it, Billy. Loving the story.
So it's young guys like that, like Kevin, like James, like Rod, like Jared, like Shawnee. There's so many others I could mention that I'm trying to pour into, because I remember when I started and these guys were training me, right? And
Hmm.
so one day I'm like, man, I'm getting all this stuff. Hey, what do I owe you guys? And the guy said to me, it was a friend of mine who's in the SEC, he's a men's official in the SEC. He said, Billy, the only thing I want you to do is give it back. When you get it, give it back. I was like, I can do that. And so my nature as a teacher, I guess, and just wanting to share. You said passion. You say I can talk about it.
Hmm.
That's what I want to do. I want to give back, and that's what I intend to do. So you know, so yeah, I do. But I look at it more of a ministry for me, sis, and that I can help them grow in other areas. Um, you know, so.
It definitely takes discipline, and that's gonna feed their character.
Discipline, yeah, that's the thing about it. Probably just like anything that you really want to be good at. So we talk often about being professionals. Not that you're an NBA or WNBA official, but that you're professional at what you do. Like you're a professional at Passion Speaks. You're a professional. I can tell when we started. I'm a professional at refereeing, not because I work in professional basketball, but because that's my nature. My wife would always joke about, like, I'm anal. I'm just gonna say it. I'm anal.
You are.
CD, whatever you want to call it. But
Hmm.
what I've realized is that that's a characteristic that fits me because it keeps me lined up. It keeps me. One of the biggest things we have people get in trouble with is that they don't know how to handle themselves off the court, and that often is what costs them the game, costs them a career. It's a
Hmm.
fine line to have a great career or not. And one of the things is probably happiest is that I've had some longevity, because I think of that characteristic of being anal, if you will, or me and you always joke about this being OCD. I'm gonna move my phone to a certain place and make sure I'm just that guy,
Hmm.
but not to the point where I can't function. But it has helped me functioning with my travel, with being. I'm not late to games. I don't miss games. I'm very meticulous about how I write reports. So I think a lot of those things, and those are characteristics I try to pass on to the young people.
Well, speaking of career,
Mhm.
um, at what point can I make this a career to feed my family?
Refereeing?
Yeah, would I have to have? I know that you at one point you told me. I just know this from being your sister. You had told me you have done up to 90 Division 1 basketball games in a year.
Yeah,
That is enough because I pretty much know what they pay.
yeah,
That is enough to feed your family.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
can
Uh,
you do it? Can
it
you do it from? Go ahead.
No, no. Go ahead. Ask the question, please.
I'm just wondering, like for people out there who want to get into this
Right,
and want to train and they're starting out
right.
on the little league level,
Sure.
doing whatever, be it basketball, football, track and field, whatever you're officiating.
Yeah.
But I mean, at what point do you think we can start to, do it full time and call this, you know, my bread, my earnings?
I'm gonna say, first of all, I can't take no credit for this being my career right now because it really was the grace of God that I got. I was in IT, and when I got laid off, um, man, by the grace of God, I had enough games to sustain us that one season. That one season. The key was I did a good enough job to get a second opportunity or to get another season. And what I did was I tried to make sure I maintained and improved. So I'll give you an example. At my age and in my career, it's not uncommon for me to work a WNBA game and come home on a Saturday morning and go work a pro-am somewhere. I try not to do that as much anymore because it takes too much away from my wife now because we're empty nesters or the grandkids. But the reason why that was I had that passion was because I felt like I had to continue to get better because I knew I had to continue to be able to take care of my family, and that's the gifts I had to do it with. So when you say when can it become a career, I think that's different for each individual, and it depends. You know, I call refereeing sometimes. I call it a beauty contest, and this is why. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Mm-hmm. If you're in charge of the contest, you get to choose who's most beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. And if you get to choose who's most beautiful, you may take the ugliest duckling in the room and say, that's my beautiful one. It is what it is. It may not have be based on talent or anything like that. But if you consistently show up and the beauty, the eye of the beauty beholder changes, you might now be in that eye. In refereeing, for me, for consistency's sake, it's about continuing to be able to do your job well and to hone your craft year in and year out. You can never, for me, I could never rest on my quote unquote laurels. I have 6 WNBA finals under me. Most people say, man, that's great. You can retire. I could retire today and I'm a happy man. But it did mean that I was satisfied not to go to more finals, just to be at the top of what I do for me personally. Because nobody calls me and tells me what a great referee I am. I don't walk around my house and look at all my pictures and say how great I am. It became a career for me, probably saying I was probably in about my 3rd year. It had to become a career because I got laid off. So at the end of the season, you know, me and Lenore would do things like pay 6 months of house note and pray I got enough games the next season to sustain, right? Okay. So really, I was probably about 8, 9, 10 years in before it really was okay. Now it's pretty solid. And I say that because we're independent contractors. I right now work for nobody other than the WNBA in terms of a contract. Our contracts end on the 1st of April, I think it is, or something like that, right?
So you're not employed. You're not employed by any of them. You're
I'm not even really in WNBA, even though we have a different type of deal with them. So I am in quote unquote an employee, and I am vested as far as my what they would call veteran status. But that being said, you know, it's day to day in this business, and you just got to go out and put the best work forward you can and try to learn. That's why I've always had great mentors and always tried to, as much as I teach, I listen as much as I teach. I call people and sit on Zoom calls and listen as much as I teach. I just was on a call last night with a 25-year NBA veteran and a 17-year NBA veteran, and we're just talking plays. Because not only do I want to learn to be a better referee, but I want to learn to be a better teacher. But that is always a tricky thing. Like when do you, and this is what I told referees, and I even told Shawnee this: don't divorce your job. Let refereeing divorce you from your job. Okay. You know it's there, right? Mm-hmm. Don't go, you know what? I got 40 games this year. I'm going to quit because I'm going to make $59,000. Mm-hmm. No, move, because next season you might not get those same 40 games. You may not make that same $59,000. So. Mm-hmm.
Good. We got some comments real quick. Who we got? I missed some. They kind of scroll. Amen. For giving back the same as your mom, Miss Brooks, did a loving.
Thank you.
Love giving back to families. Yeah, that's
my mama.
Penny. Yeah, you got that right.
She got something in us good, girl. She put something in us good.
Here's Doretha. You remember Boogie? Yeah. Uh-oh. It slipped out. Billy, greatness is in your bloodline. Thank you, Doretha.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Lenore is going to fact check us.
Okay.
The year you got hired in the ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Big 12 all in one season. Oh, I think she's referring to that year you mentioned. When one conference wants you, they all want you. Trend while you can and keep trusting God and remaining diligent. Good point. Good point. Because when you're hot, you're hot.
I get to stand on. That's the foundation I stand. Not them conferences, but her and that trust in God. So that's where. But I did get hired. This is what's interesting. I got hired in the same day I got hired in the SEC, the Big 10, and the Big 12. I was already in the ACC, and then I got hired one season before that in the NBA Developmental League, and I was actually training for my first three seasons in the NBA, working those games and going back and forth working those games. And it was like everyone was like, "Oh, it came out of nowhere." It didn't. Like they had no idea how many hours I spent back in the back where nobody could see me, or in the gym running sprints by myself. I used to go in the gym by myself and run up and down with my whistle in my mouth, training and learning how to look at the floor. And those things, they go untold, and there's no reason to tell them other than now because it's my story. But that's what I did, and I was in there.
And that's huge because trust. If I was running up and down a gym, I would not be able to have a whistle in my mouth because I have to have my mouth open so I can breathe.
Right. Well, and that's why I was trying to learn how to run and breathe. And people, they would look in the gym and look at me and go, "What is wrong with this guy by himself?" And I would be in the weight room and I would be doing my signals and
with imaginary friends.
Yeah, and they laughed, looking at me, and I said, "Hey." And in my mind, I would be thinking, I got a plan.
Okay.
This is my plan, right? It's amazing to sit here. It's amazing to sit here after all these years and tell these stories that I don't even really think about till you bring up the question. So
Diane is saying your parents raised you both with a wonderful work ethic.
yeah.
Thank you, Diane. That is true. Yeah. We do have mom. Of course, mom worked forever, and dad with his
about that. I always tell people I'm a blue collar referee. I grew up with a dad and a mom who went to work every day, worked in factories, and phenomenally a mom who lived at 94 years old and still had money left. Like that's amazing. And that resonated the way mom and dad lived and raised us and saved and worked. I took the same approach to refereeing. I remember dad saying, "Son, you don't get nothing for free. You got to work." Okay. And he went to, he went to work. I was mad at dad for years not coming to my games, but years later, I realized he worked and where he came from and living through depression and all that. So it resonated with me. So thank you for that, Diane.
Dad worked 44 years in the factory. And later when he passed, we found out the 44 years was perfect attendance.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He never missed a day.
I got to say that every time. Looks like Mike Lynn is chiming in.
Mike Lynn.
Awesome interview. Thank you for sharing your journey, dropping gems. Thank you for watching my
in Vegas, man. That's my people right there. Hey, let me say something about them. Them people took care of us when me and Lenore moved to Southern California. They did. They were. We love them dearly. They helped us get started, and our journey in Southern California was started because of Michael Lynn and her mom, and so we got deep love for them.
I remember that when y'all left Grand Rapids and moved from Lansing to California.
They were there
from Grand Rapids. And then this is Phil Claybrook, our cousin, enjoying the interview conversation. Thank you, Phil, for watching. I did a passion speak with Phil also on his management company.
Oh, nice little following, sis. I'm proud of you. That's good.
Oh, you know what? It's people like you. They chime in because they want to know about you. And I'm noticing that when a person has passion, they'll talk about it like they're really interested. Like you don't have to do no homework.
Yeah.
When you got passion, you got to do no homework at all. You just got to click a button and show up. And that's what I like because a lot of people don't have passion or they're searching. They're searching for something to get to love.
So there's something.
This might be it.
You'll know this when I say it, and probably a lot of people on the call. But I'm a bullet point person, which means I don't have to write stuff out about what I understand. Write a bullet point, and I can talk for an hour on that bullet point. And when I teach, I write bullet points. And when I go into I go to camps a lot. I was just there this weekend with campers, and I instruct at camps, referee camps. We actually have referee camps for those of you that don't know the business. Kind of like players go to basketball camp, and I take mental notes, and people will go, "How did you remember that?" Because I don't know. Like I don't. It's a gift that I've had forever, but I could take mental notes. I can remember plays from 2 and 3 years ago. I can almost tell you the exact time the play happened in the game. That's how good my recall has been over the years. But I'll teach off bullet points. And so when you said to me, we're going to do this, I'm like, I don't have to write nothing down because she's going to ask me what I'm passionate about. That's what I like about the passion speak. I can talk about it. I don't have to write anything down. It just flows. So.
Let me see if I got any other questions. I think I want to know before we end, because I want to know if there's anything that you want to share that we haven't already discussed.
Yeah, part of my journey in refereeing started in law enforcement, as you know, and actually I was a part of the 1992 riots in Los Angeles, not as a participant, but as a law enforcement officer, and that formed a lot of things in me. I think, first of all, when George Floyd happened, I said to myself, after Rodney King, I never thought I'd see that happen again. But I bring it up because it didn't deter my belief in law enforcement as much as it just disappointed me that we were still there. And I remember us one day having a 6-hour conference call with the NBA and the WNBA, and we talked about issues related to what happened and basketball. And I could relate. I have so many parallels between refereeing and law enforcement that I have seen over my career. I can parallel, my whistle with my gun. I can parallel the technical files and how I use them or could abuse them with how I could abuse my authority as a law enforcement officer. I could parallel the way people act in the locker room in refereeing and the way they act in the locker room in law enforcement. And having been through those stages, seeing that and coming out of it. And I told you this earlier, and I'll share this real quick. My wife was pregnant 6 months at that time with Shawnee, my youngest daughter. Well, she's 29 now, so she ain't young. But and I remember her saying to me, "You can't go." And I remember saying to her, "I have to. It's my job. That's what I do." And not till we spoke about it today. And I got emotional today. Actually, I don't know. I didn't tell you this, but I got emotional because I realized just what sacrifice Lenore had to make and my kids were potentially going to make if I never returned. Did I get, oh, there we go. If I never returned from Los Angeles and I was gone, that was way before we were using like cell phones like we do now. My wife had no idea where I was at. She had no idea when I was coming home. She had no idea if I was dead or alive. And yet that was where I think one of the times where I really started to see her faith in God and how we developed as a family and as a couple. And I think that led a lot to my my strength, I guess, as a referee and learning to be calm. And I think I told you this, that's the first time I ever had to pull my gun on a person. And that was the last time I ever pulled it, because I realized then, as much as I loved what I was doing, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put my gun on people. And refereeing, when I got to refereeing, it was the closest thing I had felt to law enforcement, the camaraderie of team, of crew, the rules. I love the rules, procedure. I'm anal, so I like procedure. But I also like the freedom that I can use my mind and I can think. I like to use my mind. I love to work with my hands, but I like to use my mind. And basketball always intrigued me, even a little bit more than football, because you had to think. You had everything. It was quick. It's quick. It's moving so quick, and it just has. I think that even as I've aged, I still have a really sharp mind because I've been able to see things and I have to react and I have to think about them really quick. So that's what I would like to share. I think that those parallels. And some people may not even understand that like I do, obviously, because I've been in both careers. But also the last thing I say about that is I've been in 2 careers where people can't stand to see us coming. They can't stand to see us coming, and they can't stand to see referees coming.
Cops or referees, that's sad.
They'll call you
So,
and tell you they're speeding in my neighborhood, and then when you come and they speed and you give them a ticket, not me, them. Who is them? You're them. And then
right.
again, well, we don't do that in practice. Yeah, but this ain't practice, so we're gonna call fouls. I know you don't call. A lady told me the other day in a WNBA game, she said, "Billy, we ain't been calling no fouls in practice." I said, "Well, maybe we'll follow that same trend today." Not. She said, "I know." So I'm just saying those. I just see those parallels, but I appreciate you having me say it.
So this commenter says it's Kamal Child Hurry. We appreciate all the job you do for the community. Thank
He's
you.
a good friend of ours here in Atlanta. My wife, one of
Okay, a friend of yours.
my
Okay.
golden customers. Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then Robert Hamlet. Hey Billy, my drum corps brother.
That's
You
him.
and
Man, do I? Oh my God.
yeah, he was a drummer.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Hey, shout out
so
to Jerry, man. I'm sorry to hear about Jerry. So
yes. This is Diane again. I've learned so. I have enjoyed your passion speak. Great. I live here in College Park, and I'm going to go for the. She thinks she's saying she's going to watch the games on ABC.
she's
Okay.
in College Park, Georgia.
Yeah,
She's
she
down by
moved
the
down here.
WNBA arena. The Dream play right down in College Park. I was just actually there Sunday for a preseason game. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's good. Very good.
Okay. Um,
Thanks, sis. It's been great.
I got some new comments.
Right.
Facebook user. I'm not sure who this is because they didn't give us permission. Hello, family. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. God uses all of us in different ways. God bless you. Love you. I don't know who that is, but they didn't give us permission. Here's another one. Congratulations to you both. Billy, thank you for always contacting me when you come here and allow me to come see you work. I don't know, but I guess Billy, when you go to towns, you contact whatever families in town and say, come on out.
I do. I try to it's an opportunity. Like it's really been great. Like one thing I've never been shy about is spending the money to bring my wife along if she's able to come. And we are able to have a great time and see family and you know see friends that we normally would not get to see. So there's my cousin Denise.
Denise.
Boston in the house.
Yeah. So hi, Denise.
That's been really good over the years, you know.
Denise stays swamped.
I tried to retire from the W in Lenore. I was like, you sure you want to do that? I'm like, oh, you still want to travel, huh? Okay.
And if you can, trust me, retirement is such a challenge from the perspective of staying active.
I know. That's what I've heard.
Love you guys.
Love you too, sweetie.
I would suggest from a retiree, I would suggest don't do it. Get your plan first before you retire because it's just been a challenge. Then COVID, you know?
Yeah. I think being written for my retirement plan is being written for me. It's just not being done written, so I haven't done it. And I still feel good physically.
I have a question. And I know we gotta go, but you got COVID, didn't you? And let me see, when was that?
So last year, during the WNBA season, we went on break on July the 16th. I came home. I was home for about 3 weeks, and Lenore and I were sheltering in place and wearing masks. And I would go to the grocery store. Well, I had this pro-am league that I ran, and we would wear masks on the sidelines, but not masks on the court. And we went down there. The second to the last game of the year was the semifinals before the championship, and worked. And then I woke up. So Thursday was a championship. I woke up Saturday with vertigo. Have you heard of vertigo? You know what vertigo is?
Gabriel had it. I've had it before.
It had me dizzy. My crystals in my ear were off. And I knew right away what it was because a buddy of mine had it when we were in New York a few years earlier. So I called him. I asked him what to do. I did it. Still felt a little woozy. So I tested myself because I have an in-home testing kit that the NBA gives us. Came back negative. That was on Saturday. So I called my buddy and said, listen, I'm not coming to the pram today. I'm not feeling good. I'm dizzy. So Sunday I woke up still feeling a little woozy, but not as dizzy. I tested on Monday negative. I woke up Wednesday morning of that following week. And as soon as I opened my eyes and looked at the floor, I said, I have COVID. I knew it. I was sneezing. I I could just, so I get up, I test right away. I pop a positive. I wait 30 minutes, pop another positive. As soon as I pop the second positive, the NBA is calling me. Billy, we got 2 positives from you. So that was the 8th of August, and I was due back on the floor on the 16th of August. My first game out was supposed to be an ABC game in Chicago. I had to come out of my first 3 games. I was for about 12 days. So I was fully vaccinated at that point, not boosted, but fully vaccinated. There was no booster. And I never got more than the 99.5-degree fever, right? But when I tell you I felt like a truck had hit me, I was so physically tired, and I was running sprints, and I was on the court running, and I felt like I had never trained a day in my life. I could not walk up my stairs without panting. And then I was trying to get out and walk just to get my head clear. And it probably took me about a month to clear my head. I had this, what I called COVID brain, where things would just be fuzzy and nothing seemed to be clicking right. And imagine you're out there trying to referee full speed. What these players?
I remember texting you every day. What's fever getting high? How you feeling? Out of bed yet? And
I was just sitting in the chair, just like, okay. I mean, it was, hey, look, it hurt to even move the clicker sometimes on the TV. So, but yeah, it was pretty
I want to ask you the user that won't identify themselves. Sorry, Sandy, it was me, cousin Yvette Forbes on your Facebook page.
That's my girl.
Okay. Thank you, Vet.
So I'm coming out, girl. I'm coming to see you.
Go ahead. Who is this? Oh, Robert Hamlin. God bless you to both of you. Love you guys. Love you too, Robert. And then Phil is saying, when you retire, your sister has a picture sorting and classifying job for you. That's a family joke. Mom left thousands of pictures that we are trying to classify.
Put them in place, Phil. I'll get them in place for her.
We're working on it, Phil. All right. I think I got all my questions answered, and you know what questions everybody else asked them all. So I appreciate you taking the time. What's next? When does NBA start? We know that March Madness happened, it's gone. Collegiate basketball. Now they're getting ready to get into summer camps. But what's going on for the WNBA?
Well, we just I was fortunate enough to work to the Sweet 16 at Bridgeport this year. I had NC State and Notre Dame, and then we've recently done 2 trainings. I did a pre-draft camp, NBA pre-draft camp up in Virginia, and I've already worked 2 preseason WNBA games. All this has been since about March the 13th to now. Okay. I've done all that. And now I'm off for about 10 days, and May 6th, I will open up in Phoenix. Phoenix versus Las Vegas is my first game out. So
okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That'll be ABC, actually.
Beautiful. Oh, ABC.
Yeah.
Diane, there you go.
Yeah.
WNBA game on ABC.
Tell her all criticisms go to you, not me. Send all criticisms to you.
Yeah, you know I ain't taking them. I don't know nothing.
Wife ain't taking them either, trust me.
Don't ask me nothing.
She'll lay hands on you. You know, Lenora lay hands on you and start praying for you if you criticize her husband. So.
Oh, I'm sure. All right. Well, I appreciate you. Billy Smith, WNBA official and NCAA Division I women's basketball official. We appreciate you sharing your passion, and hopefully someone who is aspiring will, this will help them with their journey, and that you can actually make a living doing this and do it quite well. You got to be persistent, got to be diligent. This has been Passion Speak, where we give those with a passion a platform to speak. Thank you. It went a little long, but I enjoyed every minute. I really appreciate you, bro, and I love you. And family and friends, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
Oh, she's saying football's my passion. Take again. God bless. God bless you.
I was a football guy. I was a football guy. So,
all right.
Appreciate it.
Awesome job. Lenore said, awesome job. Thank you.
Bye, baby. Love you.